Let's do it.
All right. There's only 3 starting quarterbacks in the NFL under 6 foot tall. 2 of them are #1 picks. So why should you join Kyler, Bryce, and Russ? If I'm an NFL general manager, I got to explain to my fan base why I just drafted a 5'10" quarterback.
Yep. I'd say 4 things. Experience. I've had the most experience ever, as you could imagine. Started in high school as a freshman, all the way into my senior year on varsity, and then have done the same here in college. Then I'd say, my leadership ability. I think I've learned it as I've gotten older. Have been built for the position. Growing up, I've played it, so it's something I know very well. I'm a winner. I won at all 3 spots, and I've done it in big games and everything in between. And then I'm learning. I know I won't know everything going into the door and in the NFL. Got a bunch of knowledge, but there's still a bunch for me to learn. So I'm eager to learn and know that there's a lot of room for growth.
What's a team getting in Tez Johnson if they pick him both as a player and a person?
Yeah, Tez is a great player, a great person, but he's electric, and he's made plays consistently. A guy we relied on heavily, and he always showed up. So you know what you're going to get. He's produced at the highest level. More importantly, his speed obviously is unmatched.
Phil, I was wondering if you had a chance to talk to the Raiders and Chip Kelly while you've been here in the Combine, and if so, how did it go?
Yeah, had a great conversation. It's been really good. I think initially you meet everyone and you have these conversations, but there's got to be great alignment, and I know that, and just searching for the right fit.
Do you have a formal agreement?
Yes, I do.
And so, after you were at UCLA with Chip for a night, what was it like to reconnect with that, to think of that in the next level?
Yeah, I was sick. A lot of big smiles. A guy you've met before. But any familiar faces in this game, you just appreciate, the crossover and, being able to catch up and talk through it.
Did you happen to be with the Cowboys?
Say that again.
Did you happen to be with the Cowboys?
Gosh, I can't remember. No, I don't believe so.
Dillon, I'm sure I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but there's been a lot of comparisons with you and Tua.
Yep.
Style games, background. What's your take on those?
Yeah, as a lefty, I think there's lefty comparisons, but as you can imagine, there's very few of us, which is cool. It's a differentiator that makes us different. But I think more than that, there's different playing styles. A great person to be compared to, of course, a guy I've watched growing up and has had a bunch of success. So, I think to each their own, and you'll have to look and see and maybe take a deeper dive into different playing styles for lefties.
Did you mention with the Dolphins?
I have. Went really well. Yeah, I think throughout this process you meet a lot of teams and a lot of coaches, but it's a lot of information gathering, and then from there, I think this next month will be telling and when things are lined up.
How do you think you mentioned it has to be the right fit? What would be the right fit for you? What would make you comfortable and consistent?
Yeah, I think, great alignment. That's from coaches, players to ownership. I know that that's very important to make it happen. And if, a team wants a winner, wants a franchise leader, then, they know who to call. But I also just want them to know that I want a believer as well, someone who believes in my abilities, and I can go out there and go win games. So I think that in itself will help being the right fit.
So how much of a relationship do you have with Bo Nix, and how much of his rookie season did you get to see from afar when you were in the game?
Yeah, I think it was a short, turnover, so I didn't necessarily get to connect as much. But, a lot of appreciation. A guy who's obviously played really well at Oregon and then in the NFL, so you can see the translation of the ability to translate offensively and schematically. So that's partially why I was, very interested in Oregon as well. The ability to see a quarterback, just compete at the highest level, but be able to be very comfortable within that office. That when you can go do that yourself, if everything's right, then you'll go do it as well.
Tell us about the process after the Super Bowl, Dillon, where you made the world tour of your past stops and past coaches. So why was that important to you?
Yeah, so in Mobile, as you can imagine, tough place to travel to. So drove up through Mississippi State, Starkville, and saw Coach Levy. Flew out of Memphis. I have family in Oklahoma, so went to go see them and then saw my boys. But for the most part, I think you just look at the connections, the people I've been able to be around. Those are lifelong, you know. And in this journey of football, there's a lot of change. There's a lot of movement, but you know, I think you can really tell a lot about a person is how they're able to maintain those relationships through, you know, even throughout a journey.
Dillon, when you think of the NFL Combine, who's the first player that comes to mind?
And probably John Ross, because growing up, you watch the 40. The 40 is kind of the famous event here. But I think everyone. I think, you know, as you're growing up, year to year, you're just watching guys that have the opportunity to take advantage of it. So now that I'm here, I'm excited to compete.
Dillon, I know this was a while ago, but you were teammates with Theo Weiss. What do you remember about him both as a player and a person when you were at Oklahoma together?
Yeah, Theo's the best. He's a great dude. I know throughout our journey he went through some things, and that was more physically, but you just see a guy who's continued to respond, and I'm so happy for him and him finding his fit and going and killing it, you know. And you know, he's a great receiver, but he's even a better guy to be around. So I'm glad I had that crossover with him.
Yeah, what are some keys to making that?
So, yeah, decision making. You know, you can tell a lot about a person on how they choose things, and that goes hand in hand on and off the field. But my decision making for me is something I pride myself on. I've chosen 3 spots that have been really, you know, good for me and have had a lot of success. But then when you get on the field, you can tell a lot about a person and how confident and decisive they are, and I take pride in that.
Who are some quarterbacks you like to watch and look and model your game after and learn from?
Yeah, there's a bunch. You know, I think, you know, initially to start, you know, Brock Purdy, Bryce Young, Baker Mayfield, Kyler, Tua, you know, guys that all are playing really well at this NFL level. But then you also admire guys that maybe have a different playing style, like Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes. You know, just being able to watch them from afar. I think from everyone you can learn a little bit, but then you make it your own.
Dillon, you mentioned the decision making. What are some other keys for you to make the transition from college to the NFL and be successful?
Yeah, just accuracy and efficiency. You know, I think those are 2 things as well you got to pride yourself on. So when you go out there and there's a third down, you got to have it. You can rely on your skills that are very important at the next level. And I think when you marry all those 3 together, you get a great quarterback that's going to be, you know, a surgeon in the pocket, and that's extremely important at this next level.
What are the most experienced quarterback at the college level? If you go to the next level and the team says you've got to be the backup at first, it's quite a mental shift for you.
Yep.
It's going back to like 8th grade.
Yep.
How are you going to do that? How are you going to handle that if that has to be reality?
Yeah, I only know one way to prepare. So that's going to be really good for me, and knowing that I'm always going to be ready. I'm going to make sure that I know the game plan. I'm going to compete every single day. That won't change, and I think that's the beauty in it as well. Whatever role I take on, I'm going to create value, I'm going to create impact, and I think that's powerful.
Dillon, what would you say was to speak with your platform to speak with?
Yeah, I think, you know, not necessarily here, but you meet and have had, you know, whether formal, informal, even at the Senior Bowl. So I think throughout this journey I've met with everyone, but I think it's all gathering information, and you know, we shall see here this next month, you know, visits get lined up.
Growing up, who did you most model yourself?
Gosh, initially my dad, just watching. He's the reason I truly fell in love with the game. But as I've gotten older, I think, you know, Colt Brennan when I was in Hawaii, Kellen Moore when he was at Boise State. But I think any lefties, right? Michael Vick, guys you can just admire because they throw with the same arm, but also, you know, they do it a certain way. So it's been a lot of fun to watch those guys.
Dylan, looking at this year's crop of quarterbacks, I mean, it seems like from the outside, guys are maybe underrating you guys as a whole. Do you think, like in the future, there's going to be some surprises from the 2025 quarterback class?
Yeah, we'll never know, right? Until we obviously go out and do some things, but I think that's TBD. But a lot of great guys here, and you get to meet with and talk to. So it's been cool.
Dillon, what's your thoughts on the whole, experience versus quote-unquote youth debate, right? A lot of people say, oh, well, if you get a younger quarterback, you're a lot better. But a lot of times at the NFL level, we see guys with experience do a lot better. What's your thoughts on that whole debate?
Yeah, I think you'll see it. It's very new right now. So with any new things and anything that's different, of course, there's strong opinions. But for the most part, I think that's where it's trending with how college football is looking in NIL. There's going to be more experienced quarterbacks, and I know how well it's done me, but also you look how well it's done a lot of people. When I was making the decision to come back to college, I'd be dumb not to do my research, but you look at Jordan Travis the year he had. You look at Hendon Hooker the year he had in his 6th year. You look at Bo, you look at Michael Penix. And that's just to name a few, but a lot of guys that went back, had a better year, and then improved their draft stock. So
We turned to Terrence a lot, obviously, but particularly in clutch situations. Not just at Wisconsin on that 4th down, but we led the country in 4th down yards, only 3 pitches. What about him made him so clutch for you guys this week?
Yeah, building trust. When you have trust in someone, you'll go that extra mile and have built up reps and preparation. But he's a guy I trust. So in crucial situations, if people didn't know this past year, that's who I was going to.
Is there a moment, a play, a drive that you think best paints the picture of who you are as a football player from your career?
Yeah, I think there's a bunch, within this 6 years, but I think I challenge everyone to just watch the tape. You see the evolution from 2019 to now, the growth I've made, not only physically, but mentally, and even my throwing motion, you see how polished and how detailed it's been. But that won't change. I'm be eager to learn and continue to grow, but I'm confident on my tape, and that's good or bad. I think you can learn from that, and most importantly, how I've responded.
What would a team be getting in Josh Connerly?
Yeah, JC's a dog. He's a very athletic. I've been around 2 first-round tackles in my career, Anton Harrison and Tyler Guyton, and this will be the 3rd one. So JC's going to be just fine. He's extremely talented, but more importantly, he's just so cerebral and smart and intelligent when it comes to pass pro and run game technique. So I'm excited for him, but that dude's got all the potential in the world. He's going to go maximize it.
Anton's had a pretty good career so far in Jacksonville. Just what was it like playing with him?
Anton, he's another guy who's just, I remember pulling up to the rec and this guy's dunking like no other, and he's an O-lineman, but he's athletic, he loves the game, he's a lot of fun to be around, he's just a good dude.
Two more.
Dillon, your wide receiver Tez Johnson, I think was tell people about Tez.
Yeah, Tez is amazing. Tez is a guy I'm very close to, but you just see a guy who's electric on the field, has played a lot of ball, but more importantly has made an impact wherever he's been. And he's extremely confident, but he already knows he's going to go run a great 40. He's got amazing ball skills, but the type of person, the value he'll create in the locker room is unmatched.
Dillon, have you met with Tampa Bay at all this week, formally or informally?
Yeah, I have. Yes.
Was that formal or informal?